right now there is a growing memorial here at the MacArthur Bars. And at the same token, we know that there is a continuing search for that suspect. We're told that he's a 27-year-old violent felon who is currently on parole. We want to get you straight to a look at the man that police are looking for. We know the department wants you to be on the lookout for this man, John Lee Cowell. PD says he's a transient, meaning he doesn't have a permanent address, so that adds another challenge to this investigation. We're told prior to last night's brutal murder, BART PD stopped Cowell just 5 days prior. 18-year-old Nia Wilson and her sister boarded a BART train in Concord Sunday night. BART police say the suspect and victims rode the same train to MacArthur BART station. Unprovoked, the suspect pulled out a knife and attacked the young woman. The suspect killed Nia and wounded her older sister.
It was, in my close to 30 years of police experience, probably one of the most vicious attacks that I've seen.
In a press conference Monday, BART Police Chief Carlos Rojas says officers were already patrolling MacArthur Station when the attack happened. However, the suspect still managed to get away. Chief Rojas says officers later found the knife used to kill Nia at a nearby construction site. We're told a crucial part of this investigation was surveillance video. In the past, BART has been criticized for its use of fake decoy cameras and its failure to capture other serious crimes. But BART's board president says the cameras are now working and helped provide another look at the suspect. On July 18th, officers cited John Lee Cowell for not having a proof of payment. This is a frame from the officer's body camera.
The fact that we had an image from just this past week of the suspect, this vicious killer who shouldn't be out on the streets.
A sentiment echoed Monday by concerned neighbors. 18-year-old Kiara Kanishi says she didn't know Nia, but feels connected by age. She says at this point in a young adult's life, they shouldn't have to worry about losing their lives to senseless crime.
I know it's been going on for a while, but it keeps happening, and that's the problem.
There is growing speculation about whether the attack was a hate crime and whether the suspect belonged to any white nationalist group. Chief Rojas says the department hasn't found that to be the case. And right now we're coming back out live. You're seeing Nia's family here. Her mother noticeably distraught, understandably as well. We know that Nia's godfather was at the earlier press conference. Daryl Allums addressed those racial speculations that we just spoke about, and he shared this message with the community.
We don't know if this was racist. We don't know if it was random. We don't know what it was. But we're asking the African-American community to stand down right now. Let's get this information to find out what really happened. Let's find out the right facts so then we're able to deal with the situation.
And Daryl tells us that he's also part of the Stop Killing Our Kids organization here out of Oakland. Unfortunately, in this instant, it was someone, a part of his family.
Okay, so you just heard that news clip right there. I would like to thank everybody who has sent me an email about this story or tagged me about this story on Twitter. Like, my phone was blowing up all day while I was at work about this story in particular. And it actually did trend on Twitter as well. First off, let me just say I offer my condolences to Nia Wilson's family, friends, associates. I hope that her sister, whose name is Tashia Wilson, is able to pull through, because I think they said she was in critical condition, and whenever they say something like that, that's not a good sign. You would rather hear something like stable condition, because then that means they have everything under control and they're most likely going to pull through their injuries. But that critical condition, that usually sends a chill down your spine, and it's kind of scary. But when I first heard about this story, it was still developing and everything like that. And I think at this point it still is developing because they haven't caught the guy who did it. And that is the fault of the police department. They know that this guy has a record. They know that this guy has a rap sheet. They know he's a menace. And so many other words that I could come up with that I can't think of right now off the top of my head. And he has priors. Why is he still on the street? Like the guy said in the video, he should not be on the street. Like, he is a danger to society. And they said that he doesn't even have an address. They said he's a transient. He floats around. He's basically a squatter. He just goes from place to place. Not like now, like they said, that's going to make it hard for them to find him because he doesn't have a living address. It's like, do they have any family members that know him that they can reach out to? You know, they probably won't say much, and if they do, they probably gonna use the same old, oh well, we don't know where he is because we don't really speak to him that much, and all this and all that other shit. And when I hear this story, and whenever I hear those words, BART train system, I instantly think of Oscar Grant. I don't really need to go into his story because many of you know of his story, or many of you found out about his story through the movie Fruitvale Station. It's very upsetting. Like this, she was only 18 years old. 18. She was very young. Very young. Like she was getting ready to enter the best years of her life. And that was taken away from her from this savage. Now, I would like to know, was there anybody else on the train with them, with her and her sister and this guy, when this happened? Because somebody had to have seen something. If the train is running at that time, it may not be that many people on the train, but there had to be some people on there. I find it hard to believe that they were in that car by themselves. I find that very hard to believe. And that's another reason why we need the sister to pull through, because once she's better and able to talk, then they can, interview her. Don't press her and everything like that, even though the mainstream media is going to do that. But we need to find out in her own words what happened. The good thing is that they have his identity. The bad thing is the fact that he's still out there. And the thing is, I have a feeling they are going to drop the ball in trying to catch this guy. But to the people who live in that area, or the people who just live in the state of California, because this guy, they say, is a transient, so that means he's going to be on the run for a while. And they need to make sure he does not hop that state line. They need to make a good marker of his face and make sure that he does not leave that state. Because I'm telling you, I would not be surprised if this clown heads for the border, because his face is out there. And they really do need to check and see if he is a part of any type of hate groups of any kind. I would not be the least bit surprised if he is. I mean, this guy stabbed her and her sister. And to my knowledge, based on what I've heard, I don't know how true it is, it said he slashed her throat. That means he wanted her dead. He wanted her to be killed. A slash to the throat, there's no coming back from that. Depending on how deep the cut, if it's like one of them little minor cuts, I mean, you'll get a little scar from that. But if it's a slash like they say it is, like one of them serial killer style slashing, there's no coming back from that. But hold on, I'm gonna pause this right quick because there's something that somebody tagged me in on Twitter that really actually pissed me off almost more than this part of the story itself. One of my subscribers had tagged me in this picture that Phil from the Advice Show was able to retrieve from a network called KTVU, where they posted up a picture of Nia Wilson holding a handgun and pointing it upwards by her face. Now, I know what lamestream media is trying to do. They are trying to paint this image that she was violent or that she deserved whatever came to her, just like with Trayvon Martin. They brought up things about him smoking weed, being suspended from school, him having the grill in his mouth, and him flipping the bird in his profile pictures on Twitter. And said that was the reason, or that was one of the reasons why George Zimmerman did what he did, and saying how, oh, he was a thug and this, that, and the third. Don't be surprised if they try to pull some stuff like that with her. Like, they went and dug up this picture of her and put it on the news. That even though that's a local affiliate, the fact that Phil from the Advice Show got it lets you know that this picture right here can go viral. Now, I don't know where KTVU is located at as far as the news goes, but it's out there now. This is the way that when they target you with something like this, this is their way of trying to diminish your character even in death. And I notice they only do that with black people. Rarely, if ever, will you find them doing this with a white victim. They will show them in the most brightest light possible. Even if this picture only floated around one time, the fact that it floated around at all is completely unacceptable. And to the people who are near where this station is, they need to reach out to whoever it is and demand some responses or some good goddamn answers for why they use that picture of her. They're trying to make it seem like she deserved what happened to her, and that's not fair. But then again, mainstream media is never fair. As long as it fits their narrative. Because they got to get another conversation going. Because see, the whole thing floating about him being a possible white supremacist got out there, and they got to say, oh, we got to get something on her. Or try to get something on her to put out there to counter what they're saying about him. That thing that killed her, oh, don't think for a second he isn't being protected. The fact that he has all that stuff going on with him and they never have once put him behind bars, that should tell you something. He's being protected. Talking about we on the manhunt for this guy. You have his image. You've had him in. He's in your system. You just never put him in your jail. But that's fine, because if he goes around and he kills one of their own, oh, they'll find him in a heartbeat. Now I will say this thing. Now, this is something I saw somebody else say. When that whole Justice for Junior thing was going on in New York for that 15-year-old boy that was killed brutally in that bodega, some black people may not have a lightness or a kindness towards the Latino community or whatnot, but that's one thing that they have on us that we do need to adopt, and that is to shut all that stuff down and get all the people involved. Because notice that it was multiple people involved with that when they got all of them, to my knowledge. It's just one guy involved here, and he's still on the run. George Zimmerman was one person who killed Trayvon Martin back in 2012. Here we are in 2018, and he's still out there. He hasn't been behind bars since he first got arrested. And that was back in 2012. Since 2013, he has not spent one day behind bars. So do y'all see where I'm going with this? I don't care if you have to, the people in California got to develop a mob mentality. Y'all have his face. Y'all look everyone in their face like y'all are crazy until y'all find out who this guy is. And let me tell you right now, I want y'all to, the people out there, to pretty much make him be scared. Scare the hell out of him. Make him want to go to prison, because you know what's so crazy? He's either going to get it on the street or he's going to get it behind bars. Preferably in Gen Pop. But that's really all I have to say as it pertains to this story right now. It's going to continue developing. I know there's going to be constant updates. The next update that I hear, hopefully, will be when he gets caught. And at this point, I don't care who he gets caught by, just as long as they get him. I prefer that it's somebody off of the street that gets him though, because you know, there's a lot of outlaws out here, and they don't care if they catch a charge. They will deal with him accordingly, as he should be dealt with. Y'all let me know what you think down in the comments. Like, share, subscribe. If you would like to, you can donate to my channel via PayPal or become a patron on Patreon. The links will be down below. I'll talk to you in the next one. Okay, here's an update. This is exactly why I'm glad I waited to upload this video. That way I wouldn't have to go ahead and do a part 2 to this. But it has come out that John Lee Coward, because I'm calling him a coward because that's exactly what he is, has been captured. And I have to shout out one of my Twitter followers by the name of Sunkissed. I hope she doesn't mind me shouting her out, but I do have to give her a shout out because she was the one that actually tweeted me the article that came out at 10:55 p.m. So almost a little over an hour ago. It says, officials in Oakland announced Monday evening that the suspect in Sunday night's fatal stabbing that left one young woman dead and a second in the hospital, was taken into custody at the Pleasant Hill train station, CBS San Francisco reports. The suspect, identified earlier Monday as 27-year-old John Lee Coward, is a transient with a history of violence. Coward did pull out his knife at the MacArthur BART station one Sunday evening and slashed Nia Wilson across the neck before stabbing her sister Latifah. Now, I'm seeing it says Latifah Wilson, but I saw her name was something else. So I'm not entirely sure if her name is Latifah or if it's something else. And fleeing the scene. Nia's wound proved to be fatal and she died at the scene. Her sister was being treated at a local hospital. BART posted about the arrest on their official Twitter account. According to a BART source, authorities received an anonymous citizen call saying the suspect was on an Antioch-bound train in the East Bay. Police stopped the train at Pleasant Hill Station where the officers boarded and arrested Coward without incident. BART officials thanked the riders help in the search for the suspect. Violence on the Bay Area rapid transit has resulted in 3 homicides over the last week, including the fatal stabbing of the 18-year-old woman Sunday evening. It says it's rare we have a homicide, so of course this is ramped up to the highest priority when you have 3 deaths, he said, and so on and so forth. I'm trying to see if there any other additional information. You know what? That's pretty much all I wanted to read. There's going to additional stuff. I'll leave the link to the article in the description so y'all can read it for yourself. But I'm glad they caught the guy. And I'm glad they actually did it swiftly because I thought they was going to drag this thing out like a lot of other people did. But they didn't take long. It only took like a little over, like maybe a day to catch him. Because, you know, they could have let this drag out as much as possible. But we'll see what happens now. And shout out to Nicole because she did a video about her godfather and things where he was telling the people to stand down. I say ignore what he said. Stay mad about this situation. Stay outraged. Because if they do this thing like they did with, you know, how they did in New York for that 15-year-old junior, they can do the same thing for her. And the rest of us, that's actually how we should be. To be quite honest, don't let people like her godfather or the media try to tell you how to feel when it comes to situations like this. You feel the way that you feel, and if you are upset and you are mad, be upset and be mad. You're a human being. You have the emotions. Let the emotions ride that wave. I will talk to you in the next one.